good afternoon to all. Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss people, and small minds discuss events. We had all great minds for the last 1 week with us, discussing, exploring, introspecting, and trying to have a deep insight on entrepreneurship and startups in the last 1 week. Entrepreneurship concept for students, yes.
నేను చెప్తాను అసలు చదువుతున్నాను నవ్ ఐ వెల్కమ్ శ్రీకాంత్ అప్పుడు
Entrepreneurship for students, yes. Entrepreneurship for students, yes. But entrepreneurship insights for faculty, yes, of course, needed. It is always the teacher who instills, encourages, and motivates students for anything in life, and hence entrepreneurship too. On this note, I, Dr. Valedictory, take pleasure in proposing the welcome address and presenting the FDP report. To start with, I would like to welcome Dr. Roni Kurian, Chief Guest of the Day, Chairman, AIMS Karnataka Kerala Chapter, and Dean ISME Bangalore. Sir, it's our pleasure to have you with us today. We wholeheartedly welcome you to this valedictory session. Welcome. We would like to welcome Mr. Ganesh Mahadevan B, Guest of Honor and Head of New Age IT, Digital Transformation and Innovation at Bosch Engineering and Business Solutions. Sir, we take pleasure in welcoming you and to have a great input from you. Welcome, sir. Also, it's a great honor for us to have Mr. Santosh G, Founder and Global Chairperson, Confederation of Indian MSMEs, on behalf of Department of Management Studies, a wholehearted welcome to you, sir. I would also love to welcome our HOD man, Dr. Sheelan, Professor and Head, Department of MBA, and Member Secretary, Karnataka and Kerala Chapter AIMS, the person behind this great session. Welcome, ma'am. This one-week session would not have been so great without the listening of new participants. So on that, I would like to welcome the participants from New Horizon College Kasturi Nagar, New Horizon College Maratani, and New Horizon College of Engineering, and also the outside participants who have been listening to this session the last 1 week by YouTube Live. Welcome all. I would also like to welcome the faculty members of Department of Management Studies and students of first year and second year MBA who have been working throughout. Welcome all. I am happy to inform you that we have successfully come to the end of 1 week national level FDP on nurturing entrepreneurship and startup management planned from 7th to 11th June 2022. About 90 participants from and outside Karnataka registered for this 1 week national level FDP. During the inaugural, we had welcome address delivered by Dr. Sheelan Mishra, Professor and Head, Department of Management Studies, followed by presidential address given by Dr. Manjunatha, Principal, New Horizon College of Engineering. We had Dr. Anil Rao Paila and Dr. Satish Prasad Rao as the chief guest, and other people who joined in our inaugural were Dr. R. Nandagopal, Dr. Mohan Kumar, Dr. Babani Ravi, and Dr. Manasar C, where we had a great input from all these people on entrepreneurship. During the inaugural of the FDP on 7th June, we also signed a MOU between New Horizon College of Engineering and Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Among others, the MOU aims at strengthening the network of universities and institutions in India and US by supporting member institutions. The MOU was signed by Dr. Manjunatha, Principal, NFCE, and Dr. Manohar, President, South India Regional Council, IECC. On 8 in the morning session, we had Dr. Arun Bharadwaj, who spoke on innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Then we had a very good panel discussion on entrepreneur's journey of finding an ikigai by Suma Gowda, Rajiv, Narasimha Naidu, and Mr. Right. On 9 in the morning session, we had Mr. Himanshu who spoke on lean business canvas, and afternoon we had a session by Professor Ramesh Chandra, the highest patent holder. And on 10th morning, we had Prakash Nimbalkar who spoke on MVP, problem solution fit and product fit, and then followed by CA Pawan Shah. And today morning we had discussion with investors and investors' expectation by Mr. Shashank Rande. And finally we are here today for the valedictory session where we have all great people who have joined us. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Shikhi. Good afternoon, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. Now we move on to the next session. I, Kamisha, take the privilege to introduce Mr. Ganesh Mahadevan V, Head of New Age IT, Digital Transformation and Innovation at Bosch in Engineering and Business Solutions. Sir has 50 plus years of experience in sales, pre-sales, development, strategy, consultancy, product development in digital and emerging technologies with strong technology leadership, project management, team leadership, and customer interaction skills. Welcome, sir. He has proven and seasoned data and analytics strategist in driving and anchoring, pre-sales, sales, innovation, true leadership, and value proposition. He also managed large business portfolio with more than 100 plus MNUSD, influence business and driving practice, lead sales in and around customer experience, digital transformation and analyst in data and insights. Now I request Dr. Shriram ma'am to give some.
Jay,
So, now we would like to share.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You need a mic or it's audible? So need a mic? How many of you need a mic? It's come forward. So I think hope I'm audible? Yes, sir. I think this should be recorded. You guys won. So kudos to you guys who needed a mic. Okay, I think the topic for the day. So Murphy law is true. We just wait for them to. Yeah. We'll give one more chance. If an echo comes, 2 minutes. Okay, guys. Good afternoon again. Very good afternoon.
Good
I think we are here. They call certain professions a noble professions. But I don't know why they don't call entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship as a noble profession. Because I think we should also include entrepreneurship in a noble profession too. Because it's creating an impact in the social and economical aspects of our life. I think we're all fortunate at least to crisscross these terms or these particular entrepreneurship in either way of life. So, of course, to become a successful entrepreneur, you need many things, right? So we need to be at the right time, in the right place. We need to have the right set of offerings, right? Be it service, be it product, be it multi-sided, single-sided. At all aspects, we need to have that. And of course, startup is a medium. We all know that anything we want to disrupt, right? Or even we want to commoditize, but today's term is also Uberization. Uberization is also a new term, thanks to Uber, who really brought to us that idea of Uberization. How can they democratize the supply chain? And that's what I think all the hyperscalers are enabling it from a technology standpoint, but Uberization, I'm a big fan of Uberization. And I'm also a big fan of pivotal strategies. So the pivot is a very important word. I will not talk about much, but I will predominantly spend time on pivot. Right? Because we will start anything with a vision statement, with a mission statement. And of course, you would have also gone to business canvas, value proposition, startup toolkit, and all the 9 yards of how we can evangelize a success for funding. And the doors were closed to them. And now I don't know how many of you know about Blockbuster, where they are. They are completely perished. So the most important aspect that about leadership is about two. One is exploring possibilities. And number two, how can we pivot at the right time? That is extremely important. The later aspect is more important than the first one because sometimes we are too passionate and rigid about our thought process. So we need to step back and really ask a question, are we on the right track? Because you can't fight the social transformation. That is the first part I want to touch upon. And the second part I want to touch upon is the digital transformation. Right? Today, the digital transformation is a quintessential part of our life. Right? If I ask a question, how many gadgets are with us in each one of us in the room? At least 3 to 4 we can say that. It has got everything. I think in today's gadgets we also have a stress level. I don't know how true it is, but we are able to see the stress level. So the digital transformation, right, is so important for us to know, which has a direct nexus to our strategy. Whatever you do, right, there is a digital flavor in it. So please don't negate the disruption of digitalization in your strategy. Right? These two are extremely important. And of course, Dr. Sheelan, I think she is a big fan of VUCA concept, knowing it for some time. So VUCA is something which is again an integral part of the strategy. And please don't discount digitalization because your digitalization can disrupt. Right? How many of us know that internet sector will be dead? Where is internet sector today? Correct? Courier services, have anybody thought that done so will come and take away all the courier services locally? So if I am going to start a supply chain, right, I should ask this question. A digital carrier, right, who is going to Uberize the supply chain locally from goods, is a competitor for a professional couriers. Have you ever imagined, right? Have you ever imagined drones are going to be competitors for all the Swiggy teleporters. So whenever we strategize, right, we should have an element of VUCA. And today the modern VUCA is called Black Swan. So VUCA, at least you can bring a framework to predict. But Black Swan is something which is near to us, which can be around us, but we can't see it. Suddenly it will emerge as COVID. Ukraine war crisis, semiconductor shortage, Sri Lankan economic crisis, right? And of course, COVID is a known thing. So the black swans are always around us. So we have to be extremely alert and conscious whether does our strategy can be hit by a black swan tomorrow. If at all, to what extent it is. Right? And that applies to all of us in our life. That applies to skills that we have. That applies to primary skills that we have. Today, SDVs, electrical vehicle. If you compare electrical vehicle with the ICE engines today, any automobile engineer is there in the room? You guys know what you are facing, right? You guys can exactly, I can empathy you guys. The hundreds of components in a car is going to be handful. So what is going to happen to automobile? So there are software components which is the entire VCE component, the vehicle computing engine component itself is going to change with software components. Today, the USP of a car is not about luxury or taking you from destination A to B. They are selling internet, it's an internet machine. So have you ever imagined in a day that car's USP is going to be an internet machine? So what is the USP of that car which is calling it as internet machine? Is it safety? Is it connected cars? Or is it internet? What are they offering? Right? So imagine the strategy. If any other car OEMs would have thought that, and all the electrical bikes today, have you ever thought that all the Ather, how old is Ather? Few years? Not even a decade old, right? Have you ever thought Rahul Bajaj has to stand up and say, I'm okay to compete with any electric bikes? Who is there for ages, decades? So the black swan is around us. So what will happen to the after sales for EV vehicles? That we have taught to you. So what is the strategy? I'm just asking questions so that we are all provoked. So the most important part is exploring opportunities. Second is we should always be ready to pivot. Right? Because the supply chain itself is changing. And there are new entrants in these spaces which you would never imagine. Right? And the entire drift of the foundation is undergoing a digital transformation. Right? Thanks to internet. So please watch out at the same time. Have a very positive thinking in exploring opportunities. And have right people, have the association of right people at the right time. Because for anything you need people. Right? Artificial intelligence needs human intervention to take the right set of decisions. You all agree with me or not? So people matters. You can't take human out of the business. Right? You can't take customer out of the business. The one who is going to pay is customer finally. So have a people centricity. The human centric approach in the amidst of these scheme of things is the conclusion I would like to make. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. I can answer it now or I can take it offline also. So any questions? A couple of questions I can take it. We also have other senior leaders who are invited as a guest to share their perspectives. Any questions? Later? Thank you.
రికార్డ్ చేయి.
Round of applause to our guest of honor, Mr. Valedictory. Now I call upon Srikanth to introduce our next guest of honor, Mr. Santosh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all for the next session. I, Srikanth, MBA, fourth sem student, take an opportunity to introduce Mr. Santosh sir. Here is a global chairperson, GCP IT. He loves to dig into customer problems and solve them with emerging technology. He creates a scales and optimizes product portfolios that matter. Over the last decade, first as a vice president and since 2010 as a CEO, he has brought his executive and technical leadership to bear enterprises through successive growth stages, reaching and exceeding milestones and generating tremendous value along the way. He enjoys meeting new people and hearing new perspectives. Reach out if you want to talk to him about emerging tech, creating software products, services, go to the market strategies, innovation, incubation, and product management, software as a service. He is on a journey to ensure that diversity and inclusion within the workforce directly mirror the diversity of population we care for every single day. They are doing to our Humanomics in Action, Future of Education global initiatives. He and his team, they are on a mission to empower 10,000 SMEs and 10,000 women in businesses. Now I request Dr. Mr. Sheelan Mishra ma'am to hand over the memento to Santosh.
సైడ్
Start? Okay. I think I have been given an opportunity to talk about the funding. Each one of us, when we start business, the day one we start that how to get funding. We don't even talk about what is your product, what is your services, who is your customer, who is from where you are going to do business, how you are going to bring a team. You don't speak about that. You first thing that you think, oh my God, this company has got a funding. I'm also similar to that. I should be getting much more better funding. Do you think that funding matters? Yes. Is that? How much it matters? How much? Too much? I don't think so. Because see, if you look into the statistics, all those businesses that they have started, everybody have started out of their savings. Nobody have started their own the funding from outside, right? They have started because they love their product, they love their idea, they love their services that they have thought of, right? Now, most important things, when in the year of 2015, our Honorable Prime Minister, on the day of 15th August, has started that we are going to have a Startup India mission, right? And the Startup India mission, we have never ever thought that this will be so big, right? The Startup India mission has defined that what should we call as a startup. How many of you know what is startup? Can you just tell me anyone? What is startup? Is that basically you are starting a stall, is a startup? Or is that you are starting an e-learning app, is a startup? Or is that you are going to start a molding company, is a startup? What is startup? As per the definition of Government of India and the DIPP. Pardon? Okay, is that? That's all. Okay, so as per the definition by department DIPP, the startup will be like that. The company has to be either a private limited company or a partnership company or a LLP, right? If it be a property firm, it's not going to be called as startup. First thing out. If at all you are thinking that you are starting a business and you are a proprietorship, you are an owner of a company, that's a proprietorship firm, you should not be calling yourself as a startup because it doesn't, as per the definition of Startup India, they have told that you should be either private limited or LLP or a partnership firm to be eligible to be called as a startup. Now the second term that they are talking about, that the company, if you have started now, you have another 10 years life to call yourself as a startup if at all if you're meeting all the eligibility criteria. So that's why if any company has started 10 years back, they cannot call themselves as a startup. Previously, in the year of 2015, when they defined, it was 7 years. Recently, it has been changed from 7 years to 10 years. And when the Startup India was formed, that time the overall turnover limit also was less. And today, if at all, if your turnover at any given financial year is crossing more than 100 crore, you will not be called as a startup. So that means to be the startup, you should be either private limited, LLP and all those things. The other one is basically you should not cross 10 years. You should not be more than 10 years old, and you should not have more than 100 crore turnover. Now the beautiful thing that has been defined, this is all about turnover, this is about the structure of the organizations and all those things. But now it is correctly been defined what is startup. Startup is basically that you should be working on something called innovation, innovative product, innovative services, which has got a scalability inside and which can create a larger impact. Right? So that's why if at all somebody is coming up with a saloon, cannot call themselves as a startup. If at all they don't have innovation inside. Right? Or they can come up with a saloon, but they can, if at all they are able to improvise on the services, the way customer engage, the engagement model, and various other things. Okay, then they may fall under the Startup India category. Now you have gone ahead and started your company, you have started a private limited, LLP or partnership, whatever it may be. Now the problem is, once again, they told that this partnership firm also can be the startup, but when you go for a Startup India registration, they doesn't allow the partnership firms to register under Startup India. So if at all, if you are looking for that you have started a company and you would like to go for a Startup India certification, you have to be either LLP or a private limited company, register under the Company Act 2013, then only you will be able to register yourself as a startup in as per the Startup India policy. Now what are the things that is required for you to be the startup or recognized Startup India company? First and foremost thing is basically that you should have a valid registration, you should have a PAN card and bank account details, and you should have a write-up about what the innovative solution that you have or the services that you have and which is scalable. Once all the data is available, then you will be able to go ahead and register yourself in the Startup India portal, but you also require a Aadhaar card. If you don't have Aadhaar card, probably they will not allow you to do it. Now what are the things that I get? Startup India, everywhere you go, people are talking about a startup. But what, if at all, if you become a Startup India registered company, what are the things that you will be getting in? It says that if at all, if you could just like that go ahead and apply and get yourself approved, you'll be getting a lot of add-on services because the government of India is thinking of what are the services that you can give it to you so that the startup can scale. So they'll give you what's called summer space, 6 months, they'll give you some telecalling facilities, 6 monthly, Joho CRM, Joho One app, which is accounting software and complete CRM software and all those things for 1 year. Multiple other packages that is there that will come as a free. But that is all a short-term benefit. But what is the long-term benefit? It says that if at all you are a startup, you will be able to get a 3 years to 5 years income tax exemption. Now we have got so far almost 30,000 startups, and you know what is the statistics? Only 200 plus companies have got or been certified or exempted from 3 to 5 years of income tax exemption. Why? Because they don't want to give it to everyone. They are looking for some company who is scalable and all those things which has got a larger impact, and only the income tax benefit offer can be given. Now, how to get that, how to apply for that particular offer? It's happened through a multiple process department. Because if at all Startup India is to give you a income tax exemption, definitely then it has to talk about the income tax department and the finance ministry, right? And then it's also talk about the DIPP department. So there is an inter-ministerial team is there. So your application, once you have got yourself as a certified Startup India company, further if at all if you are looking for an income tax exemption, you go ahead and file for the income tax exemption under the inter-ministry process. So if at all under that process if you are getting eligible, then you will be able to get 3 to 5 years of income tax exemption. Now what are the other things that is there? Now you have got a startup, now you are thinking of raising fund. Now the biggest challenge comes that at what level of fund that you can gain and to what, let's say at any given point in time, if your subscribe what's called authorized capital and the paid up capital. So that means if your paid up capital has gone more than 25 crore, then you will be out from the Startup India category. So that means if at all if you are thinking of raising money, you keep raise money. The moment you have crossed your valuation more than 20, your valuation is the paid up capital valuation. Post funding, 25 crore, then you will be out of the Startup India definition. So then you become a non-Startup India company. Okay, so you will migrate. Now the other benefit that is talking about, that the moment you get a Startup India registration, you will be able to, you will be exempted for 5 years under labor law. Labor compliances, labor department will not come and ask boss, give me money, PT, professional tax, give me income tax, give me this tax, ESI, PF and blah blah blah, a lot of things will be asked, right? Once you register a company, all this department will be coming and telling you, boss, give money, right? So as per the Startup India policy, they have told that okay, after 5 years, don't bother about, my labor department people will not come and torture you. You can just give your certification that this many people are working and then you certify yourself. Now the other thing is also talking about, there are other benefits that is there. If at all, if you have not got the income tax department, being a Startup India company, you will be able to you will be exempted from participating into the tender. Now, lot of if you look into the government of India, the state governments, and all other departments, there is a public procurement policy has come as for the government of India. It was initially 25% of the entire government of India and public sector unit, whatever they are supposed to purchase, 25% was supposed to be purchased from the MSME department. Now under that, now a startup is also eligible and fall under that particular category. Let's say ONGC is buying something around 30,000 crore in a year. Now India 30,000 crore, now it is 30%. So 30% of 30% crore, 30,000 crore has to be bought from the startup or MSME. So that means once you get a Startup India registration, you are eligible to participate into lot of government procurement policy, government purchase scheme, right? And you are exempted to deposit the bank guarantee and EMD, that is called earnest money depository. Deposit is required if at all you are participating into tender, and the bank guarantee that is required. So once you do that, then you are exempted from that. Now apart from, there is another thing. If at all you have got a Startup India things and if you are having some solution which nobody is there, most of the times, when I remember when I started my EV company, I was selling product in Tamil Nadu and various other state. There was very less number of EV manufacturing company was there, and then whenever we bid, we used to be the only one. Then the tender used to get cancelled. The story used to continue. Thank God that the government has come up with a policy that if you have got a unique product and if you are the only one, you still will be able to get the thing. You may not have to have a three-bidder thing. Okay, so these are the benefits. These are the things there in terms of the Startup India. Now, let me talk about that. Everybody is talking about I want money. Fantastic. But how do you go and from where you start? When do you feel that you need money? How do you judge yourself that it is now the right time when I need money? It is not the time that, well, okay, you started and then on the day one you can say there was I need money. You cannot say. So you have to continuously assess yourself. That was when is the right time for me to borrow money. Because money doesn't come at free of cost, right? Money comes. That's called grants. The government of India has got, or the state government has got some couple of grants. Under that scheme, you will get money. You don't have to refund it. Aya, nikal gaya. Correct? That's all. So grants is good. If I talk a good product. Now let's talk about that was you want money. Now you have to first thing that you have to do is basically you have to assess yourself that is it the right time for me to borrow money. Right? Money can come from outside, right? Or from your family, or from your friends, or from your ex-colleague, but at a cost. Now whenever somebody give you money, what they ask? They'll be either asking that boss, can you give me the shareholding? Right? Or they'll say no. Then the founder will say, no, I cannot give my share because it's my company. I cannot sell my share. Okay, so then they'll say, okay, I'll give you loan. So loan is basically a debt fund, right? It will not come under the equity thing, it will be coming under debt. Now, loan is a liability, right? You're supposed to pay the money with some X percentage of interest in some time. That is one avenue. The second avenue is basically that most of the angel investors are VC, whoever the big fund is coming, they will request how much share you are going to give it. What is the management control that you are going to give it, right? So these two are the things that will be coming. So now let's say, now you are thinking of raising money. The moment you think about raising money, there are a couple of things that you need to keep it in your checklist. How do you go ahead and approach the investor and say, the boss, I need money. Now you are going and talking to investor. Before talking to the investor, you have to see that which investor is having the expertise or interest to invest in your type of company. Because there are a lot of investors. There are some investors who is investing into fintech. There are some investors who is investing into agrotech. Somebody is investing into regtech. Somebody is investing into various other domains, right? So now, not that all the investors will be investing into all the sectors. They have got a sector-focused fund. Most of the angel investors. Now, let's say you have started a EV company. So now, if you are going and asking somebody who is into fintech, who only invests in fintech, do you think that that guy will be the right person for you to talk about your investment? No. So that's why before you, first thing that you do is basically how much money you need, when you need. The second thing is basically scouting. You have to keep network open, either on LinkedIn or various other networking platforms, and say, boss, who has got money, who gives money for my sector, my industry sector. I am from a EV industry, so who are the companies, who are the angel investor who gives money into this sector. So that you have to map. Once you have mapped it, then you have to say that, okay, you have to send a mail. When you send a mail, they will be telling, boss, can you send me the pitch deck? Now the biggest problem. What is pitch deck? Yeah? Enough. Pitch deck is okay, sir, I have a fantastic product, I can scale, my money can come this much. I am ready, my pitch deck is ready. It's not. Pitch deck is basically that they would like to do a postmortem of your company. Right? They want to see, boss, who are the founders, what is their background, what is the product that you have innovated, whether this product is a duplicated product, or whether this product is an innovative product, whether this product can have a scalability or can pivot the way Mr. Ganesh has told. The pivoting is very important. Even the product also has to pivot. Service delivery has to pivot. The marketing strategy or the business strategy that you have come up, everything has to pivot. So now, that they will be looking for. Then they will be looking for what is your team size? What is your, how many paying customers that you have? What is their feedback? Correct? Then, most important thing they will be telling us, what is the term that you are ready to are looking for the funding? Correct? How many times of return that you can give? What is the percentage of return you can give? What is the salary? And then they will talk about what is the exit policy. Is nobody in our pitch deck will ever be thinking that exit policy is important. So whenever you are preparing your pitch deck, you also have to talk about your products, services, market opportunity, scalability, what is your future plan, growth strategy, everything. On the top, and addition to that, you also have to talk to that boss, how do you go ahead and exit it? Because if somebody is giving money, he will be interested, boss, how can I come out? There you go. So either your company will be going high, then your share price will go high, then I will be able to exit by selling the share, or I should be able to, reinvest further more money into your company, or your company goes into the public listing, and then I come out from there. So there are different types of exit policy that can be there. So try to see whenever you are preparing the pitch deck, you also ensure when you are talking about the business, product, market space, market fit, everything, and traction of your product and all those things, you also have to talk about the exit policy in your pitch deck, so that they are very clear that if I'm giving money, how do I come out from that? Right? It's not like a trap. Right? So now you are ready with the pitch deck. Then you go ahead and pitch to a lot of investors, and then some investors say that, okay, I would like to discuss with you. Then they discuss. Then say that, okay, I'm ready to invest in your company. Then they'll be telling that, okay, let's sign up an agreement. That is called term sheet. Term sheet, right? Now in the term sheet, there is a that I'm going to bring money. You have asked for 10 crore, I'm going to bring 10 crore. You have asked for money, 10 crore, you need it within 6 months. So let's define. You need 10 crore rupees within 6 months. First payment will come this time, second payment will come this time, and every payment that comes in, you will be telling us what is the milestone that you are going to achieve it. Correct? That means that all things will be mentioned in the thing. Along with that, also the management control, if at all you are giving in, and also the shareholding pattern that you are going to give in on every investment that you bring in, and also the exit policy also will be mentioned in the term sheet. So now you are able to understand that it's not that easy to get a funding, right? You have to do a lot of things. You need to understand your own business. Most of the times I've seen the startups, most of the student-preneur, they typically think that they have got a fantastic product. They don't think about where to sell, how to sell. No, I have a fantastic product. I have got a good feedback on the social media, this, that, anything, some photo on Instagram and all those things. There are a lot of likes, lot of loves is coming in. But that is nobody is interested. How many people are paying you for your product and services? That is very much important. Okay, I should close it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so I think now you have understood that how to get funds. What is basically the transit. Now let's talk about a little bit about the couple of government schemes, and then you know that you need to go to another investor VCs and bank and all other things to get the funding. But let me talk about a couple of departments which has got fund or the grants or loan or something. The biggest fund for the startup India is there is called Fund of Funds called SIDBI. SIDBI have got a VC network, VC fund. It's called Fund of Funds. Okay, that is the largest startup fund that is available. It is 10,000 crore. In that 10,000 crore, almost 4,000 crore has been allocated till now, from 2015 to 2022. As of today, still there are something around 6,000 crore of fund is still available for startup to get funded from there, right? But they don't give funding directly. So fund of funds is basically there are a lot of angel investors and VCs are there. They have to qualify to source the money from that SIDBI fund of funds, and then they have to invest. So if you as a startup are going to SIDBI normal they do funding and loan basically, but SIDBI fund of funds is basically for angel investors and VC who can borrow the money from there, and then in turn they can invest into the various other startups. So they don't directly do it. Now the second department that will be much more interesting point is basically the Department of Science and Technology, right? DST. Department of Science and Technology has got a lot of programs, and everything starts with NIDI. So NIDI startup program, NIDI incubation program, NIDI acceleration program, NIDI everything. So there are some NIDI program is there where it's called idea to product. Let's say you have got an idea and you don't have money, right? So you can apply under NIDI fund. There you will get up to 25 lakh for your idea to convert that idea into the prototype of product. Okay. Then there are multiple different type of schemes is there. Some schemes you will be able to directly eligible. Some schemes you have to go to the incubation center. You will not be eligible directly. Then the second department is there is called Department of Electronics and IT. It's called Ministry of MIT. So Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So they do also have got a lot of programs. Okay, under that you have to get funded. Then there is another department, it's called NITI Aayog. NITI Aayog also have got some funding, but they don't directly give it to you. They route it out through the incubation center. Then there are many other public sector units like ONGC, NTPC, and like that is there. The PSU, they have got lot of funds. So like say ONGC have got something of 350 to 500 crore fund to invest into the startup which is working into the oil and gas domain. Okay, so NTPC is into power sector. So like that there are a lot of funds available. Apart from that also there are a lot of angel investors and VCs, so you can go ahead and do it. So I think let me conclude it here. If I have any questions, I'll be happy to take it up. And we are ready to help you in terms of if at all if you think of coming up with your battery, electronics device or IoT device or robotics, anything that you think of, I'll be able to help you in terms of, you just tell me your idea, we will help you to get in your idea design into PCB and then get the product ready. So end-to-end solution that you will be able to do, go-to-market strategy and everything. So I think I'm
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. A good round of applause to Now I request Dr. Priyavi Kaur ma'am to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Ron today.
Good afternoon, ladies has a diverse experience across industry sectors, education, real estate, IT, logistics, agribusiness, and chemicals. Sir has an extensive exposure to markets in India, Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Middle East, Singapore, UK, USA, Canada, Russia, and Switzerland. Dr. Roni has managed the implementation of major opportunities and market development initiatives. Sir has been invited at various events in Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Gold Coast. He has assisted in many product launches and in startup. Dr. Roni Korean is an avid reader, network, and a traveler. Sir is associated with various professional management bodies. Now I request Dr. Sheelan, Professor at HOD, Department of Management Studies, to welcome Dr. Korean to the event. Thank you, ma'am. Over to Ronnie, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you. I know it's the last session, valedictory session, and all of you are waiting for it to finish. So I know it's been quite a few days. We have started on the 7th. So let me first begin by wishing all of you a good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you, faculty and students, and to the dignitaries on the dais. Yeah, Mr. Santosh Ji, Mr. Mitesh Mahadevan, my colleagues from the Association of Indian Management School. Right here we have Dr. Sheelan Mishra, Professor and Head of Department of Management Studies, New Horizon College of Engineering, and also, on our Executive Council, Campus Secretary, Karnataka and Kerala, and Principal of this institution, and Head of this institution. First, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me today to this valedictory function of the one-week national level faculty development program on nurturing entrepreneurship and startup management. I also bring greetings from Dr. Ajit Singh, President of AIMS, all our board members of AIMS, and my colleagues at the International School of Management Excellence. I must also introduce my colleague, Dr. Shampa Nandi. She is Head of Department of I thank the organizers for the splendid arrangement and the excellent lineup of speakers for all the important sub-themes of the one-week national level faculty development program. The collection of experience and wisdom of all the elite speakers, I am sure, has instilled a sense of confidence amongst the participants to take up entrepreneurship as a discipline, one amongst the core focus in the national education policy, which should showcase greater impact and focus on outcomes. Since the beginning of the FDB program, you have covered principles and framework of design thinking, innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship, and entrepreneur's journey. I am sure that panel discussion must have been very useful. Lean business canvas and its utility for startups and MSMEs. Overview of IPR and its competitive advantage. How to leverage a product market fit. A legal form of startups. You also had, today you had discussion with investors, which I hear was very good. How to build startup cells at higher education institutions and universities, and the NISP policy of the Government of India. And of course, the session this afternoon, we heard both Mr. Mahadevan and Santosh Ji. Mr. Mahadevan's the topic that he covered, very interesting on leadership and to explore possibilities and the pivot, very interesting. And of course, Mr. Santosh Ji on startup, the investors, and of course the various fundings that are available from the government. I would just like to quote Professor Albert Shapiro of Ohio State University, and he said, entrepreneurs are not born, rather they become through the experiences of their lives, which I think was echoed by both of them earlier today. So we know the role of business incubators would have heard it over the last few days, how they help in launching a startup which is crucial to support the entire entrepreneurial journey. They increase the survival rates of innovative startups. Incubators earlier used to focus on the IT segment, particularly in Bangalore, but now they work with companies from diverse industries and orientations. The primary objective of the business incubator is creating employment opportunities in the local economy and commercializing technologies. The National Business Incubation Association has defined business incubators as a catalyst to the regional and national development, and that also holds very true for us in this state and this country. The number of incubators has grown considerably in the recent years. The rise is attributed to factors such as corporate downsizing, increased entrepreneurship, new technologies, economic globalization, and the transfer of technology. We must have heard of the different types of business incubators, the corporate incubators, the local economic development incubators, the private investors incubators who assess high potential business like technology intensive startups, and of course the academic incubators who focus on civic responsibility. They target external projects and projects internal to academic institutions. As you know, incubators provide resources and services to entrepreneurs, including working space and offices, technical expertise, management mentoring, assistance in compiling business plans, shared administrative services, technical support, business networking, and advice on intellectual property, sources of financing, markets, and strict admission and exit rules. And of course, the accelerators help in helping organizations, particularly usually for profit, offering access to funds known as angel investors. They also promise substantial growth to ventures. Because I wear an academic hat, for the next couple of minutes I will spend on academic institutions. Management academic institutions are facing the challenge of how best to prepare students for meaningful and rewarding careers as job opportunities, as traditional industries are reducing with the introduction of AI and automation technologies. Hence the focus now is on training job creators rather than job seekers. Incubators and accelerators are the best way forward to attract and retain entrepreneurial students, faculty and researchers, and to forge connections between industry and academia. Incubators are now a vital part of the academic landscape. They train students to take risks and also allow them to play and help them and develop hands-on entrepreneurial skills. These skills are valuable in industry too, in case the students decide to take a break in their entrepreneurial journey. Academic incubators provide a community, resources, and a physical environment essential to fostering entrepreneurial exploration. The success of businesses like Red Bus, incubated at IIM Bangalore, HyperVerge, incubated at IIT Madras, are visible proof of the value of an academic institution can bring to nurturing entrepreneurs and startups. In India, almost every IIT and IIMs has an incubator, as do the Indian School of Business, the Indian Institute of Science, and a host of technology and business schools. Indian companies have also joined the bandwagon across sectors with Yes Bank, Gen Next, Business World. The industry body of software companies, NASCOM, is running a 10 startups incubation program. In addition, there are large number of independent programs run by privately funded accelerators and incubators. There is also a growing variety of incubators for Indian social enterprises over and above NGO support for funds and institutes. There are several government schemes for promoting and nurturing startups in India. Startup India is a flagship initiative of the Government of India, and it intends to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and startups in the country that will drive sustainable economic growth and generate large-scale employment opportunities. The Startup India, which has got an earmarked corpus fund of rupees 10,000 crores and is expected to provide a significant boost to the startup ecosystem through certification and enrolling, funding support, incentives, industry academia partnership and incubation. The Atal Innovation Mission is a flagship initiative of the Indian government under Niti Aayog to promote innovation, research and entrepreneurship. With the Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog CEO Amitabh Kant and his team focused on changing an age-old mindset from getting the right job to creating the right job. A total 18 out of India's 29 states and 7 union territories have announced policies for startups. As we all know, Bangalore is the city of innovation and startups. We have all witnessed the rise of innovation culture in corporates. The concept of disruption and tools of design thinking are being used to build new solutions. Also, the intrapreneurship ecosystem to encourage employees to incubate their ideas. India is now ranked third in overall unicorn creation, overtaking United Kingdom with US and China at first and second position respectively. The Indian funding ecosystem in 2021 was close to $15 billion as against 5 billion in 2016. So the key drivers, of course, for the Indian startup ecosystem are fast-growing e-commerce industry in India. We are the fifth largest. India is on the move with mobile and IoT technologies, learning and education. The internet has deeply impacted the core elements of learning, lecture, library, laboratory and life, according to Professor S. Sadagopal of IIT Bangalore. Healthcare has become one of India's largest sectors. According to PwC, in one of the reports, it's close to 17 billion by this year. Work-life services, digital media is transforming not just the way we learn, work or shop, but also the way we dwell and dine. Food tech, examples will be food tech, you have Zomato, car rentals, you have Ola, travel and tourism, you have Make My Trip, entertainment, you have Book My Show, and also in the payments market, it's opening up a range of opportunities for startups in payment, advisory and content services. With one of the largest population and consumer bases in the world, India has enough potential to be both producer and consumer, which means that Indian startups have a wide range of consumer classes, products and services and business models to choose from. This FDP of the last 5 days was carefully planned and the speakers were specially selected to bring all of you together and discuss and deliberate on different aspects of startup management and creating the entrepreneurship ecosystem. The recent NHRD's Innovation Cell initiative at AICT is a bold step to foster innovations in higher educational institutes. The various initiatives like Think in India and initiatives to brand India as global innovation hub, creating innovation clubs, creating guidelines for India Innovation Index for ranking Indian education institutions are all steps to encourage faculty to take the center stage. Now is the time to reflect on how we can build these new competencies, create the ecosystem to nurture and be part of the entrepreneurship journey. If we want to lead these initiatives, each of our institutions must build our own startup and we must encourage our students to be entrepreneurs. We need to mull on a few competencies that we have to build, which would include the trust in ourselves, the clear vision we have to have, the deeper business insights, how we need to collaborate and be resourceful, customer focus, financial acumen, a commercial mindset, and of course we need to build adequate and good networks. Only then we can achieve our goals set by the National Education Policy, which focuses on outcomes. This will be a great boon to students who want to pursue their startup dreams. We as faculty must change our outlook, build new competencies, not only to establish and nurture startups, build a better society, and how we can together build solutions for a better tomorrow. Having contributed enough to ourselves and to our institution, we need to step up and think of bigger purpose for the larger community. The issues of employability, improving cross-enrollment ratio in higher education, and sustainability is of prime importance. My best wishes for the faculty participants and the students on their journey ahead.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. Huge round of applause.
afternoon to one and all present here. I would like to thank the organizers, especially Dr. Shrilan ma'am, for all the efforts taken to organize this activity. I think we all had a great takeaway from these 5-day sessions. I know that it is not a easy task to plan an FTP. We all, especially the faculty members, know that how difficult it is to organize and get the speakers and the resource person for the sessions. It's been from, I think we all have been in the kind of appreciation for the efforts that has been put by ma'am and the speakers who have made it. Just now there was a mention that all the speakers were on time, all the speakers were too humble. I feel we are all the resource person, the knowledge level that they carry, the way that their humility, I really don't have, I have no words to express. I feel even after a 15 to 16 year of experience and as an academician or also as a into management, I feel that personally I have a long way to go, and I think I not only the sessions on FDP, not only on entrepreneurship or startups, how to guide the students, even personally as a academician, as a into the management fraternity, I also feel that I have a lot of takeaway from the resource person who have been here. I feel they have given personally how to grow, how to carry yourself, how to present yourself, time management, how to keep the crowd or how to keep the students engaged, the way to make a presentation. I think it has been a wonderful 5-day session. In fact, during the lunch I have been in discussion. I think I'll share this information with all my faculties. Let us not stay tuned to only our day-to-day routines. We all, after 10 plus years of experience, we all, to some extent, we are all experts in the field of classroom management, teaching, subject knowledge. We do carry it, but please keep engaged yourself with faculty, like these faculty development programs, seminars, workshops that will help you in take away some important concepts, new concepts that has been emerging. Interact. I think many resource persons are age-wise, if you see, they're younger to us, but still they have a lot of information to give to us. Younger, the resource person younger, they were able to connect with the students very well. So like this I can go on telling, but as we all know it's a closing section, let me keep it short. We all know we are teaching fraternity, we can go on with lectures for hours together, but thank you for NHCE, thank you for all the efforts taken to organize this activity, and please do keep us engaged. Please arrange this kind of knowledge sessions for our students in our campuses as well. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share their thoughts? Came from different city.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. So my name is Roxanne and I am from New Horizon Gurukul. So there are only 2 participants here, and before I joined the session, we were very resistant to come. I was really very resistant to come. I didn't know the entire environment here, so it's completely new. And one thing that I've learned from all the speakers here is that they've also faced failures and they've learned from it. So that is my takeaway. And my grade 9, 10, 11, 12 children will be a part of Udan. And we've got 50 registrations for now. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And definitely I'll make sure that the same is conveyed to Gurukul as well. And I will thank the faculty members for giving an opportunity.
Now it's time to give away the certificates to the participants. First, we would like to call NHCK participants, for which I will call upon Dr. Shrilan ma'am and Dr.
Next to have the NHCK participants, Professor Jyoti,
Pooja NG, Ms. Nagalakshmi, Mr. Yusuf Beg, Mr. Sanju, Mr. Rohit, Mr. Akash Tiwari, Mr. Abdul Mais, Mr. Rohit Dhanush, Mr. Harish, Mr. Niranjan, Mr. Prajwal, Ms. Navya, Ms. Aishwarya, Ms. Epsiba, Ms. Meghana, Ms. Avishta, Thank you, Mr. Roni Kurian. Let's give a big round of applause for all the participants. Our call for the participants of Valedictory. Here is in college of Valedictory. I now request Mr. Santosh to join us. Ms. Jyoti Harsha Shetty, Ayush, Ms. Shivani, Mr. Mithun Shah, Ms. Jyoti Malik, Ms. Divya, Ms. Supriya,
Correct, Ali.
Ms. Supriya. Ms. Rakshita, the next is New Horizon Gurukul, Jigmay Dorji, Mr. Jigmay, Roxanne. We have the New Horizon College of Engineering ED coordinators. Dr. Prithvi Raj. Dr. Prashant A.S. Mr. Yogesh. Mr. Sunil Prashant. Mr. Nitin Kumar. Ms. Srividya. Mr. Bhargava. Mr. Karthik. Dr. M. Nirmala. Mr. Nagabhushan Narsappa. Dr. K.S. Prashant from Applied Science. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
We invite Mr. Prithviraj, Dr. Prithviraj from ECE department, PDCL coordinator, to share his feedback.
Thank you for the opportunity and just give a very small feedback. Actually, this 1 week FDP on nurturing entrepreneurship and startup management, I will say it's a complete package of FDP where we had very good eminent speakers, different domain, like we have the first day only I was talking with madam, like madam as a whole. I told we have, I feel that